Hey everyone, welcome back to Basshead TV. I'm your host, Jeff Moreland. Today we're going to talk about my upcoming truck build, my 2005 F-150. We're going to be taking a closer look at the Sundown Audio XV3 15-inch subwoofer. I'm going to explain why I chose to use 4 of these in my upcoming truck build. Plus, we're going to take a look at the Basshead Supply pre-fab subwoofer enclosure that's now available on Amazon. I'll also test out that enclosure with one of the XV3 subs from my truck. So if you're into powerful bass and real-world testing, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Before we dive into the performance of the Sundown Audio XV3 15-inch subwoofer, I often get asked what brands I prefer or what I use in my own vehicle. So I want to explain why I chose this particular subwoofer for this build. What stands out to me is Sundown's commitment to not just putting out products, but designing and building them from the ground up. Unlike many car audio brands that buy off-the-shelf components from build houses and then just rebrand them, Sundown takes full ownership of the design process with their subwoofers. They focus on every detail from the materials they use to the construction of the subwoofers, ensuring that each product is built for maximum performance and durability. That's a big reason why I decided to go with them for this project. When you're investing in audio equipment, you want something that's not only going to perform well right out of the box, but something that's built to last. Sundown's engineering philosophy aligns with that, and it's why I trust their products. It's clear that they're putting a lot of thought into their designs, and it's not just about checking boxes or keeping costs low. They build their products for people who want real performance, whether you're an everyday enthusiast or someone who pushes their system to the limit in competitions. Now, I'll be honest about something. Sundown Audio products tend to cost a bit more than some other options on the market. But when you consider the quality, the performance, and the engineering that goes into their subwoofers, it's clear why the price is a bit higher. For me, it's an investment in quality. You're not just paying for the name, you're paying for the fact that you're getting a product that's built with attention to detail, durable materials, and serious performance. That's something I value, and when I'm putting together a system for my own projects, I don't mind paying a little extra for that peace of mind. Why did I specifically choose the XV3 over something like a U-Series or the bigger ZV6? To be honest, and some will think this is a silly reason, the XV3 was the biggest subwoofer that I could afford for my budget. At first, I did want to go with the ZV6. After digging into the specs and what it would take to get those running properly, the XV3s turned out to be the right choice for me for more reasons than just size or budget. The subwoofer still sounds great playing music, which is my next best reason. Not that the ZV6 doesn't sound good, but the ZV6 is definitely geared more towards SPL, and my truck is still my daily driver. The XV3 looks amazing, which no matter what anyone says is a factor in a build like this. It's secondary, sure, but no one wants their build to look bad. The XV3 looks huge, gets the job done, and does it all for the right price. It's something I can still enjoy on a daily basis. They're rated for 2,000 watts, but off the record, I can tell you that if you supply them with clean power, I've seen these take way more. I won't say how much, because I don't want to be the reason you do anything you shouldn't, but I would definitely call the rating on these subs conservative. Another thing that's meant a lot to me throughout this whole process is the level of accessibility I've had with Sundown Audio. Jacob Fuller, the president of Sundown Audio, and Brian Chamberlain have been incredibly responsive to me. Whether I've messaged them directly or tagged them on Facebook, it's rare to have that kind of direct engagement with the people behind the brand. And for me, it adds a personal touch that I really appreciate. It shows that they're not just about pushing the products out the door, they care about the people who are using them. And they're invested in their community, and that's something I didn't take lightly when choosing a brand for my project. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a few other brands out there that make excellent subwoofers, and some of them might even be comparable in performance. But for me, Sundown Audio stood out for a few key reasons: the quality, the personal connection, and their commitment to engineering products that truly perform. When it came time to choose a subwoofer for this project, Sundown just felt like the right fit. I've been looking at them for a while, and after really diving into the details of their products, it just made sense. So that's why I went with Sundown Audio's XV3 15-inch subwoofer, and I'm excited to see how it performs in my system. Just for full disclosure, I purchased 2 of these myself, and the other 2 were sent to me last year from Sundown Audio at a heavily discounted price. My budget got tight, and Sundown wanted to make sure that I was able to finish my build on my 2001 F-150 truck. Originally, it was going to be a full Sundown build too, but since then, I decided to use a Ruthless Audio 10K for my bass amplifier over the Sundown Salt 8. Both are great amplifiers, they just have different applications, and I believe the Ruthless Audio meets my application just a little better. I'm going to be running a pretty high voltage, plus I'm going to be running it at low impedance, and I think the Ruthless is just better equipped for that. The setup will also feature 6 Sundown 6.5-inch LCMR mid-range speakers, a Sundown 500.4 mid-range amp, unless my OCD kicks in and makes me change my amps so they'll match. It's been bothering me a little bit, but I'm pushing through it. And of course, I'm gonna have these 4 XV3 15-inch subwoofers. In this video, I'll be going over the features of the XV3, its build quality and performance based on my own testing. If you're considering the Sundown XV3 for your build, I'll also give you a good idea of what you can actually expect from the subwoofer. Let's start with the basics. The Sundown XV3 15-inch subwoofer is built like a tank. Just trying to hold it, you can tell that this is a heavy-duty subwoofer. It weighs about 69 pounds based on the shipping label from the box it was sent to me in. This is not a lightweight piece of equipment, and it's clearly made for some serious use. The cone is made of reinforced pulp paper. It's a durable material, but still light enough to move efficiently. Around it, you've got a high-roll foam surround that's designed to allow for plenty of excursion while keeping things under control. Moving to the motor structure. This is where you can really see Sundown's focus on durability and performance. It's a large vented motor designed to keep the subwoofer cool during heavy use. The vents allow air to flow through and help prevent the voice coil from overheating. Now, let's go over the specs. These numbers give you an idea of what this subwoofer is designed to handle. The RMS power is listed at 2,000 watts. Xmax is 29 millimeters, which means it has a lot of linear movement to push air. The voice coil is 3 inches and is made of high temperature copper. The impedance, dual voice coils, available either 1 ohm or 2 ohm options, giving you flexibility for wiring. And the weight, as I mentioned earlier, is about 69 pounds. So on paper, it looks capable of handling serious power and delivering strong low frequency performance. But specs don't always tell the whole story, which is why I'll be testing it shortly. Let's talk about the build quality a little more. One thing I noticed right away is how overbuilt this subwoofer feels. The motor is massive and the cooling system is well thought out. There are plenty of vents to help manage the heat, which is critical when you're running a sub like this at high power for long periods. The suspension includes a large spider pack that's designed to keep everything aligned during extreme excursion. And speaking of suspension, let's get into what makes the XV3 really stand out. The XV3 series is the first driver in Sundown's lineup to offer ultra-high excursion, suspension, and frame designs. It features a custom-tooled patented frame, which gives it the strength to handle extreme excursion without distortion. This design is key because it allows for greater movement of the cone without causing suspension tightening or distortion, even at high volume. The motor system is also top-notch, featuring a triple-stack 190mm diameter motor structure. This motor has hyper-extended pole and extreme clearances, allowing for up to 4 inches of peak-to-peak travel before mechanical bottoming. That's an insane level of excursion, and it allows a sub to hit lows that most woofers can't even dream of. The voice coil is a 3-inch 4-layer CCAW coil wound on a thick aluminum former designed to handle incredible power without overheating. This setup delivers the low frequency extension and low distortion that Sundown was aiming for in the XV3 series. The XV3 is built to provide a consistent and flat frequency response throughout its entire excursion range. Unlike some subwoofers that experience distortion and a punchy upper bass peak when pushed hard, the XV3 delivers clean distortion-free bass at any volume. This is thanks to the ultra-linear suspension, which maintains a consistent response even under high excursion, ensuring that your bass stays deep and tight no matter how much power you're trying to push. For this enclosure, I'm using this prefabricated 3.5 cubic foot box from Basshead Supply. This enclosure is tuned to 30 Hz, which is a bit on the lower side, but still should give the subwoofer solid performance. Typically, the Sundown Audio XV3 15-inch subwoofer works best in larger enclosures, but since this is what I have available, we're going to see how it performs in this setup. The enclosure is built tough with a 3/4 inch Baltic birch construction all around, and solid 1-inch baffle for extra strength. It also comes pre-wired with OFC 10-gauge wire and features a slick gray stained finish with 46.5 square inches of port and 15.5 by 3 inches port dimension. This enclosure is engineered for some serious bass output. Here's a breakdown of the specs. Net volume, 3.5 cubic feet. Tuning frequency, 30 Hz. Port area, 46.5 square inches. The port dimension, 15.5 by 3. Subwoofer cutout is 14.25 inches. The construction is 3/4 inch plywood with 13 ply birch veneer. The dimensions are 17 inches tall by 29.5 inches wide by 20 inches deep. The weight is right at 57 pounds, and it comes pre-wired with metal binding posts and a 10 gauge OFC wire pre-installed. This enclosure is handmade right here in the USA with premium materials and refined assembly techniques. The result is a strong yet lightweight product that is built to handle the power of high-performance subwoofers like the XV3. Plus, it comes with no visible screw holes, giving it a sleek and polished look. As I'm installing the subwoofer, you'll notice the enclosure is made of birchwood. This is a solid, durable material that's often used in high-quality enclosures for good reason. It helps reduce unwanted vibrations, which in turn gives you cleaner, more accurate sound. Birchwood's density contributes to better resonance control, something that's key when trying to achieve precise low-end frequencies. This particular enclosure is a bit smaller than I'd usually recommend for this 15-inch subwoofer, but it's what I have available, so let's see how it performs. The enclosure is tuned to 30 Hz, which should give us a strong low-end output. However, because the box is smaller than optimal for this 15-inch subwoofer, you might notice a slightly tighter bass response than what you'd get with a larger enclosure. The Sundown Audio XV3 15-inch subwoofer is definitely a powerhouse though, and even with this setup, it should still perform well. Here's a quick look at the XV3 in action. You can see the cone movement is smooth and controlled even at higher volumes. The X-Max of 29mm gives it plenty of range to move air, and you can really feel the low frequencies. Overall, it's handling everything really well. One thing I did notice during testing is that the subwoofer really comes to life when you supply it with the right amount of power. If you're running a lower powered amp, you may not experience the full potential of the XV3. But with proper, high-quality amplifiers, this subwoofer delivers clean, punchy bass with no strain, and it handles power like a champ, which is a huge plus. After spending some time with the Sundown Audio XV3 subwoofer, here are some key points. Pros: built to handle serious power. 2000 watts RMS is a solid number for high-performance subwoofers. Impressive excursion and low-frequency output, especially when paired with the right enclosure. Exceptional build quality from the motor assembly to the suspension system, which ensures durability and longevity. Considerations: this subwoofer requires a good amount of power to really shine, so a high-quality, high-wattage amplifier is a must. It's a heavy subwoofer and it requires an enclosure bigger than even what I've used here. Make sure your setup can accommodate these factors before you pull the trigger. I looked at the Basshead Supply website and they have a subwoofer enclosure that is made specifically for the XV3 15. You can go to their website or you can order it off of the Amazon site. If you use Amazon, use the code BASSDADAUDIO-20 and that helps this channel keep going. The Sundown Audio XV3 15-inch subwoofer is definitely built for serious performance. It's not the cheapest option out there, but with that price tag comes top tier engineering, great power handling, and a lot of bass potential. This is just my take after testing it in my own setup, though I'd love to hear your experiences. Are you running this subwoofer, or do you have something else that you think performs just as well or better? Let me know in the comments. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. I really appreciate you watching. YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video right here. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, and I'll see you over there in the next video.